everyone. Guess what? I've got some news for you. The average human attention span has fallen from 12 seconds to 8 seconds. And what does that mean to us? Fact is, even a goldfish has a longer attention span than we have. We are more busy with our phones, our personal thoughts, all other things which are going on in the back of our heads. Nobody wants to really listen to us anymore. So if you're a trainer and you're a presenter, it's become absolutely important for you to understand that you have to engage your participants better. You have to work towards making sure that your participants are completely engaged with whatever you're teaching or telling. So let me introduce myself. My name is Nandita, for people who don't know me. And in this particular learning bite of Middle Earth HR, we'll be looking at 8 different ways to engage your learners. The first one, rule number 1, let them know why it is important. Whatever you might be teaching, whether it's a module or the topic, you have to first impress upon your participants why what you're teaching is so important. For instance, when I look at maths and the way we learned maths when we were kids, nobody told me why it was so important to understand Pythagoras theorem. Where are we going to apply it? What are we going to do with it? There was absolutely no background given. We were taught the theorem and we were asked to do some sums. And I hated it. And I have seen hundreds of people who are going through the same thing. If they had told me that the Pythagoras theorem is so important and it can be applied in A, B, C manner, I would have probably worked a little harder. The most important part of engaging your learners is telling them why it is so important to learn what you're teaching them. What is going to happen if you don't learn that particular topic? Rule number 2, you have to be specific. Have you ever seen a newspaper report which says many people died in this landslide or this accident? No, it'll always be 620 people died, 350 people got facilitated, whatever it is. It's always with a number. It'll have a name, it'll tell you where, what, where, how, all those points are given. Now why is it there? The whole idea is to make it more powerful for you, to engage you more. So being specific is rule number 2. Rule number 3, does it evoke curiosity? Now for people who love to watch TV serials, you know that at the end of every serial, they'll tell you exactly what is going to happen in the next one. Not exactly, but at least they'll tell you, watch out for what happened with ABC, with this person. This is to evoke curiosity and to keep you engaged and to make sure that you come back and watch for more. Rule number 4, does it foster teamwork? Anything that you're teaching and you're in a class, you have to ensure that your participants are engaged not only with what you're lecturing them or teaching them, but also with amongst themselves. So you have to create games and exercises, give them work to do, give them quizzes, whatever, to ensure that they're working together. The learning and the transfer of learning is much faster that way, because your participants will ask questions from each other, they will answer each other's questions, and the involvement is very high. There's a certain sense of achievement which comes when you are almost competing with each other in a playful way. So rule number 4 is fostering teamwork. Rule number 5, is there a balance of ABC learning? Now what is ABC? A stands for affective, B stands for behavior, and C stands for cognitive. A stands for the attitude that you would like the participants to change. For instance, if you are teaching customer service, first you have to tell them the importance of having good customer service skills. Because if you don't have it, whatever you teach after that, try to teach them the skill of politeness or doing something, it will just not even filter in. So behavior refers to the skill that you want to teach, and cognitive refers to the theory on which your session is going to be based on. This is perhaps one of the most important things, and you must never forget it for every module and for each session. Rule number 6. Have you given learning guidance? Now, very often we are very enthusiastic about teaching. We want to tell a lot of things. We have learned so much and we want to pass on that knowledge to our participants. Well, nothing wrong with that, except it doesn't give you time to practice. So when you're giving learning guidance, it means you're giving them a problem to solve in class and you're guiding them with it. So there is no threat, there is no judgment, there is only a guidance, and people develop the skill in class. Sometimes you will see classes having too much of theoretical stuff, but not enough skill building. Unless you have proper skill building with learning guidance, the learning doesn't actually percolate through. And people start losing interest because it becomes heavy for them. Rule number 7, are you using different methodologies? Now, when you look at people in your class, or in the group, if you're making a presentation, you will find that each person has a completely different way of relating to the content. Some people are visual, some people are kinesthetic, some people are auditory, some people like to just think about the theories. Now, there's nothing wrong with them. You might also have a particular style of taking and absorbing information. Now, if you're making a presentation and you're trying to reach out to your students, you have to ensure that your class or your design is such that you're using different types of methodologies. It could be a role play for certain types of people, for kinesthetics. You can have different types of methodologies to appeal to different types of learners. For instance, you could have role plays for certain types of people. You could have group discussions. You could have case studies. You could give them, analytical exercises. So depending on each person, you will have a different type of methodology which will help each learner get engaged with the content. Rule number 8. How will you ensure the transfer of learning to the workplace? Now, this is very, very critical. This is perhaps one of the most important things in any workshop. Because though you might do an amazing job as a faculty, you might be brilliant at connecting all the dots for the participants. Research has shown that 90% of what you learn is lost within the first 1 month. And after 6 months, it's just a memory. So you have to ensure that the person who's in your class is given a method by which he can transfer the learning to the workplace. It can be by way of having projects and the project guidance being given. It can also be by way of giving learning diaries. You can have project mentors, all those things. And that allows the transfer of learning to happen actually, because to learn anything, just a few days of learning in a classroom doesn't ensure that whatever you learn is going to be actually transferred into the classroom. You need a certain amount of hand-holding. You have to allow that thing to happen. And when you are actually engaging your learners, you have to ensure that it is part of the design of the workshop. So these are the 8 rules that you must keep in mind when you're designing content and engaging with your participants. But the last and the most important ingredient that you have to ensure that your participants are completely engaged with you is, well, you yourself, your enthusiasm, your love for the subject. It has to show. If you do not have that enthusiasm and you don't show that love for the subject, all of it becomes just a skill. The heart starts going away. So you need to ensure that you can transfer not just your knowledge, but also your enthusiasm when you get into a classroom. So with that, we come to the end of this learning bite. But we would like you to keep writing to us. Thank you so much for so many comments that you've sent, so many requirements. We are working very hard at it. Please keep sending your comments, like and subscribe to our channel. And with that, We'll see you again next week. Thank you so much.